This is KOOP HD1 HD3 Hornsby, radio for people, not for profit. Welcome to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Each week, we explore how your library is more than books. The library is knowledge, technology, and inspiration for our community.
I'm Valerie, the director-editor of the Challenger Street newspaper. We started in 2011 as a job opportunity for people on the streets and people in poverty. We are the voice of the homeless, with 95% of our writers being homeless or formerly homeless. To empower people in need with economic opportunity and have their viewpoints heard. This paper uplifts and gives information to our most underrepresented people. It encourages responsibility and freedoms necessary to enhance our everyday life. The people we serve have a wealth of information to share with society. The paper contributes, informs, and connects diverse people from all walks of life. The challenge is to end poverty.
The opinions expressed in the following stories reflect the authors and are not the opinions of Co-op Radio or the Austin Public Library. Thank you for listening.
Hello, I'm John Curran, and I'm writing for the Challenger, and my story today is called A Thinkin' and a Drinkin'. Yes, a thought indeed toward the plight of the po' homeless who never get no rest, especially now, especially in this time of year. And this time of year in this place goes on for a long, long time. Too long, I'm thinking, as I'm drinking. Too damn long anymore. Yes, a thought indeed, because the po' homeless be catching every inch of that. Po' homeless, they do toughen up. I talked with an old associate the other day. He sat down next to me at the bus stop. It had been years, yet still I remembered old Don. Don was his name as much as anything else. Some people, you forget their names maybe after it's been a while, but not with Don. His name even preceded him, you could say. I could not forget his name no more than I could forget the guy. So I say, Don, you look good. How's the situation? How's the wife and kids, haha? One thing, we was always some jokers. So yeah, Don's still homeless. Man, since I got him going, he's going. Gonna tell me how lucky I am for being in these last few years. How hard it is out there and all that, especially like this time of year. He goes on to talk about mosquitoes, and it sounds bad. How they're like savage smart. They track you. And how there's only a couple of places where an old homeboy can even get some relief. One being up on the roof of some condo joint or whatever, 7 stories up, and don't roll off. Either that or out on open water, apparently. But Buddy's saying when finally you got to come back in, well, that first step on the bank again, and they're all over you. Like they've been in the shrub there all the time, just watching you out there and knowing just exactly when and where you was coming in. And you thinking maybe, gee, gosh, golly, have all the mosquitoes just gone away and the world is good again? And then Buddy is when we get him. We get him good, boys, and for sure he's going to know, then and again as he knows every day, that life is hard, it's deadly, and all we really want is just his blood. We'll even leave the corpse and go on. What do we care? On to the next big warm thing. So a thought indeed, a consideration of the plight, because homeless knows they damn well gotta. Having for sure been getting every hard, hot, hopeless inch of that. Salute, me brothers, salute.
Marcellus, soliloquy. Any society willing to give up some liberty for some security will deserve neither and lose both. Ben Franklin. Hey, diddle diddle, the cat and his fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, the dish went away with the spoon. Mother Goose. This nursery rhyme is fiction. It is called absurdity. The Travis County District Attorney and Supreme Court recognize it as legitimate. It can and has been used as written evidence in any court of law. Fictitious documentation is being used to prosecute individuals on a regular basis in our courts. This is policy. This is wrong. This viewpoint is held as well by the Chief of Police of the City of Austin as well as the Police Department. This is all counter to the oath used to give testimony. The oath is used on a daily basis to give credence to documentation that it vehemently disqualifies. It can all be proven by a simple parking ticket. The laws that govern literature in our courts are not determined by any judge, by any court. They are determined by the laws of literature, the law of letters. This is determined by the oath. We are all subservient. Our courts and law enforcement are supposed to know this. They are mandated to inform you and me of this. This is our right, the only true right we have in the courtroom. The only true friend you and I have in any courtroom is a three-letter word. It is spoken before any testimony is given. It changes everything for you. It has gone unnoticed since the court has existed. We barely say it. It is and you should never again feel intimidated in any courtroom. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. Mark Antony, Julius Caesar, William Shakespeare. Years ago, I seem to remember a comment made by the district attorney of Harris County. An execution had just taken place. He said justice has been carried out according to the letter of the law. I didn't realize at the time just what he had said. Now I do. It was a confession. If the person he had just executed had said the same thing, it would have been called a confession. He confessed to murder. Of his own free will, he said that the court has absolutely no clue as to the true meaning of the oath. Nothing in our courts is based on the letter of the law. Our courts enter into an agreement before any courtroom procedure. The agreement is done by way of the oath. Our courts administer this oath. It is their responsibility to ensure that this agreement is adhered to. Since the court administers the oath, they are incumbent to fully understand it. If they do not live up to the agreement that they themselves administer, they cannot possibly expect the agreement to be binding. If they in turn purposely enact any judgment based on ignorance of the oath, they should be held accountable. The same is expected from you and me. Ignorance of the law abides to the court as well as you and me. If the court is not a venue of justice, it is one of tyranny. Because we are beyond the year 2000, the new millennium, we are supposedly beyond the age of enlightenment. In some regard, this is true. In others, we are still not yet out of the Stone Age. We have lost touch with where we began. The age of technology did not begin with the computer. It began when the first sound was uttered by what we consider human. For some, it is Adam and Eve. For others, it is some other point. It really doesn't matter. That first time could not have been possible if a wave had not brought it. That wave, not the sound, was the origin of technology, the origin of justice. That is the only constant that holds true even today. The sound may change, the wave has not. This is not questioning. The wave is called whole truth. The sound carries called truth. It was then and it is now. The oath is called true. Letter of the law is called truth. The oath specifies truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, by way of the word and. That is unless you, of course, already want to go on believing that a cow can actually jump over the moon.
Hi, my name is Rana Ghana, and I am a writer for the Challenger Street paper here in Austin, Texas. And I'm going to be reading an article which is out in our summer double issue, and it is titled Austin Outreach Goes Digital by the Lone Spanger. That's me. Are you a tech-savvy transient that somehow wound up on the streets of Austin, Texas? There's an app for that. The webpage is cleroythomas.github.io. And it's easy to navigate for those dealing with homeless-related issues. The app is called Austin Homeless Reduction and has 3 parts. The first channel pinpoints on a map that can be zoomed general services throughout the city, including the Arch, Caritas, and Angel House. The second channel is the Homeless Activity Dashboard, which is designed to be a forum for relaying information in groups relevant to homelessness in this city once it is open. It is still in its startup phase like the rest of the app. The last channel is the Homeless Activity Reporter. This has an option for volunteers, advocates, and social workers to register onto the site and become part of community updates on homeless-related activity they see. The updates can be relayed in the form of geo-mapping where homeless people are gathering and sharing photos of the homeless people and their outposts for the purpose of organizing the analytical data for the future outcome of designing solutions that meet the needs of the current homeless population in our city. In our short email conversation, Chuck Thomas, the app's creator and developer, seemed excited about the potential this site has to grow. Honestly, I am too. This is the first time I've seen anything like this. The direction the open source format on the app takes will hopefully be positive for the city. Whether it is used to illegally gang stalk the impoverished street people will be yet to be seen. Hopefully not.
My name is Blair Parsons, and I'm a librarian at the Central Library. Each week I highlight a selection of programs for adults that are happening around the Austin Public Library, and our full list of programs may be found on the library's events calendar. Tonight, Wednesday, July 18th, the Central Library will host Brian Catling for a reading and discussion of his new novel, The Cloven. Clay Smith, editor of Kirkus Reviews, will moderate the discussion. The Cloven is the final volume in the Vor series, Catling's alternative history trilogy. The event begins at 7 o'clock tonight, Wednesday, July 18th, at the Central Library. Tuesday evening, July 24th, the Twin Oaks Branch Library will host Basics of Python Programming. Attendees will learn Python from the ground up, starting by developing a foundation of basic computer programming logic, and then building into working with 3 Python data types: lists, strings, and integers. The class will culminate with learning arithmetic operations and how to build loops. Basics of Python Programming begins at 6:30 p.m., Tuesday, July 24th, at the Twin Oaks Branch Library.
Hey there, Austin. Teen Program Specialist Michael Harley from the Downtown Central Library here. Ever wanted to know how to follow your passion and run your own business? The Austin Public Library is giving teens the tools they need to get started with the Like a Boss series. This week, learn to rock like a boss. Want to know how to start a band? Already in one and trying to figure out the next step? We Rock Austin will show teens how to promote their music. Teens can rock like a boss at the Cepeda branch on Saturday, July 21st at 2 p.m. This program is reserved for teens ages 13 to 18. More details on Rock Like a Boss and additional summer reading programs can be found at library.austintexas.gov/events.
This is Alana Graves, the youth librarian at the Carver branch. The summer is almost halfway done, and the Austin Public Library is still offering summer reading events for kids. Austin Public Library's Lego Lab event series is perfect for families that are looking to unplug from technology for an hour. Kids ages 5 and up can enjoy building stories and characters while learning basic STEM principles. This week, Lego Lab is happening on Tuesday, July 17th at 3 Austin Public Library branches. 12 p.m. at the Ruiz branch, 2 p.m. at the Carver branch, and 3:30 p.m. at the Pleasant Hill branch. Lego Lab is also happening on Wednesday, July 18th at 2 p.m. at the Willie Mae Kirk branch and Friday, July 20th at 2 p.m. at the University Hills branch. Legos are provided and details can be found at library.austintexas.gov.
You're listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show on Co-op 91.7 FM and KOOP.org. Radio for people, not for profit.
Support comes from East Side Pies, local pizza with local ingredients. 3 locations around Austin: East Side off Rosewood, Airport and 53rd, and Anderson Lane. Take out or eat in. Online ordering now available at eastsidepies.com.
Support comes from Lincoln Pen Gallery's I Found You, an exhibit featuring the work of 5 artists on view July 6th through July 29th. The artists all use found objects to create their mixed media works. These works explore humor, whimsy, dreams, and our connection to nature. Opening reception Saturday, July 14th, 6 to 9 p.m. Lincoln Pen Gallery is located at 2235 East 6th Street, Suite 102. Hours are 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. More at linkpenart.com.
Welcome back. This is Valerie Romness, Director-Editor of ChallengerNewspaper.org. Thank you for listening.
The opinions expressed in the following stories reflect the authors and are not the opinions of Co-op Radio or the Austin Public Library. Thank you for listening.
Hello, I'm David Fields. I'm a writer for the Challenger Street newspaper here in Austin, Texas, and I'm going to be reading one of my articles from last year in August called Something to Do. You know, homeless people are basically the same as everyone else. We just live differently. Yes, people react to us differently, some good, some great, and some not so good. I'm sure you've wondered about it from time to time, haven't you? Different people see us differently, due in part to the many varied beliefs, attitudes, and personalities. The public's perception of homeless people is largely due to the group of us that spend their days asking for a handout or walking around staring at the ground hoping to find scraps of blunts and joints. Then, of course, there's the ones that want to steal anything they can get their hands on. A lot of homeless people have talents they could utilize to provide some kind of income for themselves. Some are what could be called craftsmen. Some are actually good artists. Some are musicians, writers, and such. The talents are out there, but as we all are well aware of, the reality is we, the homeless, have very few actual places we're able to be around here where we can sit down comfortably, pursue a hobby, and not be asked to move along by the police, a store owner, a manager, or another city or state employee. Instead of spending the thousands and millions of federally funded money the city of Austin, Texas has available on essentially unneeded improvements on the Austin Convention Center and other facilities, why is it never considered to provide places for the many homeless residents here to have a comfortable place to frequent and get their hobby or trades on? As we complete projects, we'll need a venue to sell them also. We need to band together and bring on this issue to the attention of those in charge. The city in large would be a happier, smoother running place. Think about it, folks. This would work on so many levels. The homeless sector's self-worth and esteem would improve. They would gain an avenue for income, and along with their new means of income, they would begin buying the things they were unable to attain before, which translates to their money being input back into the economy. And wouldn't that make the so-called large in charge people happy? Isn't that what they're shouting about a lot of the time? The crime rate most likely would drop. The sour attitudes would dwindle. The pointless confrontations would begin diminishing. The jail population would have to thin out. Need I go on? It's hard to believe all this hadn't been realized by somebody the board will listen to. Some people of the street start hanging out here and there, performing their God-given talent. Write the next bestseller, create a Picasso, put out the next hit song, and then hawk your wares here and there. The city will undeniably notice a change for the better and act on it. Have a damn good day.
Hello, from the Challenger. This is John Curran, reading my latest, greatest, real fake news. So they wanted to put me in housing, even though I'd been doing okay out on Skull Island. Had a camp, you know. Kong would pass by sometime, and that old T-Rex and his buddy Triceratops stopping by now and then. And of course, old girlfriend, and last but not least, old buddy Moog. So they made me an offer. I could have refused, but it kind of looked like things could have been changing. Movie crews come around, stuff like that. The inevitable, all of that. So maybe against better judgment, I says, okay, we'll give civilization a try. So they put me in the little apartment complex with another similar group of recent arrivals, vets, and made us like a showcase bunch. The city doing its damnedest for a select crew of homeless. Yeah, each and every unit coming fully furnished with brand new Ashley furniture. The build-up, like we were all something pretty special, if you get the picture. And just to really ram this one on home good, the local TV affiliate Fox News was wanting to do an exclusive interview with one of us, and Ellie was asking for one volunteer, of which that was me. Never mind that was one thing you should learn never to ever do again. I did, volunteered, figuring I guess this would be a lark. Well, okay, so they were going to send out the famous Mike W. himself and crew. The date was all set, and then the big day arrives. Now, a little backdrop. I'm not a social media person at all, far from it. But for a short time, through charity, I had this old hard drive PC computer setup been given to me. The donor probably figured I'm going to be all Lady Gaga. I wasn't, never will be. And this setup eventually got given back. But at the time of this interview, it was there in my apartment, actually taking up valued space on my breakfast table, and I was already tired of it. So as was comes a big day. Mike and the crew come out. Cameras, lighting, a half dozen of media. They get me walking up the balustrade and then inside. They all set up. Mike's on the couch. I'm ready and figured I'm going to milk this one. See, what I had was paintings of Skull Island on my walls. And yeah, old buddy Moog from old camp was staying there with me in the walk-in closet. He was not only an old buddy, he'd become like a right-hand man. I should mention he was Cro-Magnon, and nobody was supposed to know he was staying there. So he's back in the walk-in closet as I started to get on with it, and I told him, lay low, Moog, and don't make a sound. So we get on with the interview, me and Mike W. I'm calling him Mike. Mike, hey, you comfortable? Mike, what you need? Want some whiskey? Mike says, ha-ha. He thinks I'm kidding, and he gets on with the usual standard question-answer routine about how excited I am to be in housing, how good they've been to me, all of that. Me, well, I'm playing all this like a fiddle, buddy. But what I really want to do is steer the conversation to the paintings on the walls, Skull Island, and my upcoming exhibition. It's like, yeah, apartment's great, but it's like Skull Island was pretty cool, too. In fact, in some ways, way past this. Exciting in ways you never believe if you've never been there. All of that. So we're going on with it. I'm pointing out my paintings. The guy with a video camera, he's panning around the room and all. And I make sure he's getting the paintings in the midst of everything. And I also see he's focusing pretty intently on this old hard drive computer taking up space on my breakfast table. But I'm not thinking nothing of that. So we're about to just wrap it up. Been about 10 minutes. Again, I ask old Mike if he wants a whiskey. No? Okay, how about a whiskey and water? Kind of joking, you know. Mike gives me a good sort of feeble grin, says something about next time maybe, as they're all starting to pack it up. And so I'm figuring, okay, cool, great interview. Can't wait to see this on 6 o'clock news. And they were almost done, and who walks out from the back? Damn Moog, lumbering into the living room in his best Cro-Magnon fashion, and he's saying, wah wah. Oh man, apparently he's been hearing all this, and now he wants some water. I'm like, Moog, not now, get back into the closet. But then he sees what's going on. He goes over to the couch, sits down right up next to Mike W., puts his big hairy arm around him, and gives him a big sloppy smack on the cheek. And I'm thinking, oh my God. Well, old Mike, pro that he is, plays it off with a chuckle, and I get moved back to his closet and get them out of there. Man, oh man. No harm done, I figure. I can't wait for the next day's 6 o'clock news. Well, when it does come on, next day, and I got all my buddies over, popcorn and everything. I even let Moog out of his closet. Apparently he'd fallen in love with Mike W. and wouldn't stop talking about him. And we're all gathered around the TV. Turns out they'd whittled down my 10 minutes to barely a minute and a half, and nothing for it except how happy I was to be there, with a closing 45 seconds of close-up on a stupid computer, like here's a monkey we got going high-tech, and not a word nor image of any of my Skull Island adventures or paintings. And I'll tell you this, that bunch will never interview me again for their biased, manipulated, distorted, and I might as well say completely fake news story. Ever. I don't care how much Moog to this day thinks Mike W. is a really, really cool guy. All right, here's the second latest greatest by me, John Curran, and it's called Cherry Bomb. My buddy John and his girlfriend had come by earlier. We'd kicked it with a 40 and smoked some weed. They'd left. We'd been on the front screened-in porch. So after, I just walked on down the hall of the little Cracker Barrel house to my bedroom. On the way, I had to pass by Mama's bedroom. She was in there with that rat. They'd been a-boozing, of course, heavy, and talking that junk. Him playing the tough guy, old Mom giving it right back. Cat fight. Two old people. They loved that stuff. It was 20 years on now since Dad in the good days. Mom had remarried this jerk in the time when I'd taken off and been in Hawaii. I'd come back, met the new guy, and we'd hated each other from the first moment. I was getting on 10 years ago now, an ongoing war for the heart of poor Mom. The only old Dad really ever had the key to that heart. So, I got to pass by the bedroom. I hear some of their cat fight, and the rat is really talking major junk tonight. Yeah, he's saying, that no-good, worthless son of yours. I hope when he does go back to Mexico, he stays there. We sure don't want him interfering with our true love affair now, do we, Lovey? Yeah, this was his game, all right. Pushed me out. Playing his last, sorry old man's game on the lonely widow. Doing all right till the old Sonny boy, who arrives back from being away 4 years, presents an instant threat. We both understood each other very well by this point, but in the moment, the rat was definitely waxing, especially bold. I hear him now pretty good through the door. Yeah, he's saying, that some bitch son of yours, blah, 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 blah. And you know what? Right then and there, I just had enough, and I walked back out there, stood him. Oh, he says, I hear a challenge outside my door. That's right, see, because I'm standing right there saying this. And then quick as that, the door flies open, and the rat is there with a table leg for a club, bringing it down on my head. Man, cracked me good. But boy, was I loaded for bear, because Kid, that's me, comes back with the fastest, most direct and on-target straight right counterpunch to his kisser that I believe I've ever delivered in my life. Pure fist we're talking here. When you get it right, it don't hurt your hand at all. In fact, it can just feel so good. So Mom's screaming, cops come, they wheel him out on a stretcher. He's faking it. And I get cuffed. First time. And you know, you never forget that first time, do you? Like first time you got tail, say. Or first time you got up on water skis. This wasn't maybe as great as that, but at least the charges were dropped. His mom kicked him out the next day after she'd sobered up and saw how it wasn't me after all. It was a rat. And you know what they say about rats? That's right. They die horribly, miserably, hopefully. Though any old way will do.
Thanks for listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Special thanks to our producer, DJ Harris, and to the musicians who composed and performed our original theme song, Andrew Noble on violin, Kirk Duvall on guitar, and Mike Wheat on percussion. And thanks to you, our listeners. Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, airs Wednesday afternoons at 2:30 on Co-op 91.7 FM and KOOP.org. If you catch us mid-show, full episodes and other details can be found at library.austintexas.gov/volumes.